everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Freelancers Tea Break, the short and sweet podcast that you can enjoy whilst you're making a cuppa. And I'm kicking off the new year with, welcoming back a guest, actually, because Talia was a guest, I think, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
She has been a member of my business lounge for several years. There were some conversations we had recently in a call that kind of led to us being like, okay, we need to talk about this on a podcast episode. So you'll find out a bit more about that moment. But just to give you a quick insight, Talia Loderick is a money coach based in Cardiff in Wales. And she offers one-to-one coaching designed to help women understand and take control of their behaviour with money. So as I mentioned, she's been a member of the business lounge for a few years. And we also, on the side of that, quite often drift off into talking about brilliantly cheesy Hallmark films. Just before this, we've just been talking about, because I'm recording this in December, some of the Christmas films we've been watching recently as well. That is always a bit of a side topic for us. But Talia is brilliant at talking about money and freelancing alongside that. And in this episode, we're going to talk about something that she wrote a newsletter about, which is annoying but helpful money advice. So Talia, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about why you decided to write that.
Yeah, so, thank you for having me on your podcast. First of all, I should say, Emma, it's lovely to be here and to be back. Yeah, it's always lovely to speak with you. Yeah, I was inspired by you, Emma. Every week, I'm like writing my newsletter and, there should be a plan, right? A forward plan where it's like, this week I'm going to be writing about this. Quite often it isn't. So I'll be like, what's come up for my clients this week? What's come up in coaching sessions? What's going on? In the UK, in the world, around money, or what's seasonal, what people are thinking of. And I was inspired by an email that you sent, a newsletter that you sent in May 2024. And yours was called Annoying Common Sense Advice That Works. And I just loved that title. I thought it was really funny. And the tips that you shared in that piece, I think you started off with drink more water. It will help you feel energized, and how you'd done that. And then you were like, this actually worked. And
it's so annoying. It's so easy.
It's so easy. It's so obvious. We can miss the obvious, right? And I thought, gosh, that comes up all the time. Like there are phrases or just tips that I'll say to my clients. I'll say when I'm doing speaking gigs as well, whether it's for a corporate or a community organization, just things I share. And I'm like, oh, everyone's heard all of this before. And then you'll just see someone light up. And if you just say the right thing at the right time to the right person, it just resonates. It just cuts through. They've probably heard it before and it just hasn't cut through. So I thought, right, okay, I'm going to take Emma's annoying common sense advice that works, and I am going to put that around money. And so mine is, here are a few pieces of slightly annoying but always helpful money advice that I find myself repeating. And I say slightly annoying because I think some of this stuff, a lot of it is obvious, right? We all know what we should do. But I think it's always helpful advice, because even when we know what we should do, we can struggle to do this. I know that. This is why I'm a coach. It's why I work with my clients around money. We can all know what we should do with money, like budget and plan and save for the future and all of this stuff. And we can want to do that. And we can absolutely struggle to do that. And so I'm like, okay, I get that as a coach. So I'm going to repeat some of the common pieces of slightly annoying but always helpful money advice. And it went down really well in my newsletter. I sent it out and I had actually quite a number of emails back going, oh my gosh, I love this title. I love this content. This is hilarious. I needed to hear this right now. And I was like, oh, this has really resonated. So I love that.
It's funny, because I was talking to a client recently about how I remember getting one of your emails, I think it was about pensions 2 or 3 years ago. And at the time I was like, oh, that's interesting, but it didn't really connect. Like I didn't.
Yeah, you weren't ready for it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you didn't resend that email, but you took the same email, you updated it and you sent it out. I think it was this year. And that timing was perfect for me. And at that point, it really, really chimed with me. So it's funny that sometimes you have to hear the right thing at the right time as well. Mm-hmm. So hopefully there'll be someone listening to this that hears some of these tips and goes, oh, that's what I definitely need to hear in 2026.
Right. It's, something will just click, it will resonate. And, when this episode goes out, it's going to be the start of January, new year, new month, new me. And it's like, it can just be the same you but with a glow up maybe, or the same you, but more mindful, more intentional, right? You don't have to go hard. There are just some basics that will set you on a really good track for the rest of the year.
So shall we dive in with your first bit of annoying but helpful money advice?
Okay, so my first bit of slightly annoying but always helpful money advice that I find myself repeating is pay yourself first. Because this is what normally happens. People get paid. What do? They pay their mortgage, their rent, their household bills, maybe some fun stuff, some socializing, then savings. But oh, wait, there's no money left over for savings. People try and save last. There's no money left. So flip it on its head. Let's do things differently, right? Pay yourself first is a money saving technique where when you get paid, you set aside money for savings first and everything else comes out after. So simple, right? It's like, it seems so obvious. It's so simple, but it's so powerful. Like it has a really big effect on people. I've done this myself, right? Especially being self-employed, putting that money away first, for savings, all of that stuff, really important. And what I say to people is like, think of your savings as a financial buffer. It's your first line of defense against financial stress. So I think there are 3 key things around saving money. Like it gives you peace of mind. And that's really important. Every woman that I work with is like, I want peace of mind. Like savings will give you peace of mind. It helps you be prepared for emergencies, hence the term emergency fund in terms of savings, having an emergency fund of savings. Or if you prefer an F off fund, that's what some of my clients call it. And that's whoever you're telling to F off, right? So whether it's your employer or if you're self-employed like us, Emma, that tricksy client or your other half, right? It's like, I have got my money now. I've got my savings. I've got my emergency fund or my FL fund. So, you can do one and I will be fine. But I also think savings helps you be prepared for opportunities, right? It's not all in case of bad things that happen. Maybe you want to move abroad and live life differently somewhere else, right? If you have savings, that can enable that move. That's brilliant. What I always say to people is like, honestly, we try and do too much at once. So try not to get bogged down in thinking that if you can't save a lot, there is no point saving a little. After all, you do need to save that first pound to get to your first £100, your first £1,000, and so on. So what I recommend is that people start small and repeat the action. That is how to build a savings habit. And, ideally having savings put aside to cover your monthly outgoings for 3 to 6 months is a good safety net, but you get there a pound at a time, right? So I think that's really important. Start where you are. And one thing I said in my email that really resonated with a woman I know who got in touch going, Talia, I needed to hear this, right? So what I share is that, if you needed to spend your savings, you haven't failed. Because that's actually a surprisingly common feeling. People will save money. And then if something happens and they need to spend those savings, they feel like that they've been really bad. And I'm like, no, if you have savings that you've needed to use, then that's worked as intended. Like that's literally the point of them. And you can rebuild those savings then when you're ready and you're able. And sometimes people just need that reminder, right? So yeah, that's how I address savings. So pay yourself first. Treat yourself like a bill and make sure that you pay yourself first before anything else comes out of your account.
And it's so much easier now, I think, than it was 10 years ago because I use Monzo. So I have a few set up. So I've got automatically, whenever I get paid, 30% goes into the tax and then national insurance one.
Yeah.
I also have what I call the holiday fund, even though I don't always go away on holiday. Money goes into that every month, but also in my personal account, I do is it a 1p a day where it's a different, it goes up.
That's a great savings technique. Yeah.
And you don't notice it. I think having all these little things, and I've got a couple of different things that I barely notice the money coming out because they're only 2 little bits here and there.
But you've automated it. That's where automating savings can work for you when you set it and forget it. Because There will be some people who do prefer to do it manually, and actually doing it manually and moving that money across from their current account to their savings account actually is what motivates them and gives them that buzz. But for many, many people, the automation is key, because you don't have to go, oh, I won't move it today because actually maybe I'll move it tomorrow because actually there's something else to come out. Like, you don't have to remake that decision every time you get paid or every time money comes to into your account. If you automate it, you're taking yourself out of that situation, because if you are the barrier to saving money, then just take yourself out of the equation by automating it. So it really helps to know what you're like. Are you someone who benefits from automation, or are you someone who gets the buzz from doing it manually? Know that about yourself. It'll be really helpful.
That's really interesting, because I have to automate it. I think there's a hangover of being at university and overspending way too much and not being able to
I did that.
And having that terrible anxiety every time you had to. Because then I had to log onto a laptop because it was so long ago to check it, and having so much anxiety. And now there are enough automations in Monzo that like it will let me know if I need to put more money in because a payment's coming out tomorrow. It lets me know all the upcoming payments and all the automations of saving and stuff. So there is an element of reducing a lot of the anxiety around it. So I'm not someone that could do it manually, but I can totally see, because I can understand the buzz. Having savings actually can feel as good as spending.
Yes, because, okay, so and again, this comes down to knowing yourself and having that self-awareness. And that's what I work with my clients on, actually. Yeah, because for some people, especially like, say, you're self-employed, so, invoices can get paid, clients can pay throughout the month, right? And you can, depending on who you bank with, you can automate that. So, 10%, 20%, whatever gets automatically put aside from each invoice for savings, for other things like, tax, national insurance, all of that stuff. You can automate that. But for some people, it's like every time that money comes in, I divvy it up, because I actually get a buzz from divvying it up. It motivates me to respect the money that's come in. I'm putting it into my savings account. I'm taking care of my future self. I'm building my financial safety net. Some people need to engage with their money in that way and see the savings account building up. Whereas other people are like, if I see that it's building up and I see that there's a sum of money there, I will want to spend it. No way. Do you know what I mean? It's not a judgment call, like one way is good and the other way is bad. It's not. It's just about knowing yourself and setting up a system that works for you.
Love that. Right. Okay. Tip 2. I want to know what that one is.
Okay. Tip 2 is don't go broke trying to look rich. Okay. The pressure to keep up with the people around you is relentless. And so obviously when I've written my newsletter, was in the run up to Christmas, peak parting with your money season. But I think that equally applies in January. It applies all year round. I think summer is a big parting with your money season. Christmas is a big parting with your money season. I think obviously birthdays, wedding season as well. But I think January, because people are like, oh my gosh, it's so grey outside. Let's splurge. Let's put money aside for holidays and stuff, which is great, but maybe that's not you. So what I mean by don't go broke trying to look rich, it's a phrase that I do share a lot. The pressure to keep up with people around you is relentless. And I also think that trying to balance the expectations of family and friends is challenging, because everyone, if you don't make a plan for your money, everyone else will make a plan for your money. And I think, it's good to have a phrase in your back pocket. So a phrase that I have shared is, you can say to people, no, I'm prioritizing saving or spending on other things. That's a good way of getting people off your back when they expect or ask or sometimes hassle you to buy something or do something that's going to cost you money that you can't afford or that you don't want to afford, right? Just because you've got the money doesn't mean that that is your financial priority. And I think that's really important. So, it's up to you if you then want to share the thing that you're saving for or spending money on. You can say to the other person, oh, well, no, I can't do that thing because I'm prioritizing saving for my emergency fund, or I'm prioritizing saving so I can spend money on my summer holiday. You can say that if you want to, but at the end of the day, that's your business and no one else's. So you don't need to labor the point. if pushed to expand on your response, you can simply just repeat, no, can't do that thing. I'm prioritizing saving or spending on something else. It's short and it's sweet, but I think it's a powerful way of telling loved ones that you are looking after your finances. And your honesty actually could be helpful because it might lead them to reflect on their own financial situation, because I think the cost of living is costing people, and you might not be the only one in your social circle feeling the pinch, but feeling compelled to keep up. And so I think it's really useful. The more we can normalize saying, no, because I'm doing this thing, because I'm prioritizing, and that's a good word as well. I'm prioritizing saving, or I'm prioritizing spending on other things, whether you want to say what those other things are or not. Again, it lets people know that you have a plan for your money, and they might not like it, and that's okay. That's okay. They can keep it moving. But honestly, I think the pressure to keep up with the people around you is relentless at all times of the year. And especially because keeping up with the Joneses used to be like the people that we knew, our family, our friends, our neighbours, right? And now with the internet and social media, it's the whole world. This is ridiculous, isn't it? You know, and so it's having to remember what's normal, or actually deciding what's normal for you and your family. What is your norm? Some people going on an annual summer family holiday, okay, great, maybe that is your norm. Going on 5 holidays every year, just because you see people on social media doing it, please know that's not the average norm. Like, you've really got to reset your own norms. You've got to reset, and you've got to set them. Otherwise, you can be skewed by everyone around you and go broke trying to look rich. And I think that's just, it's the world that we live in. So we've got to protect our time and our money and our energy, right? So that's really important.
There is a great trend on socials at the moment of people sharing it's normal to, this is the reality of life. Like,
it's normal to have.
And you're not wearing a different outfit every single day.
Yes. It's normal not to have 20 coats, okay? I don't care what that Harlan Coben Netflix adaptation with Michelle Keegan showed us. Yes, it is not normal to have a coat for every single time you leave the house, a different coat.
Who was the room for all these coats?
Where are they going? Well, because they live in big 5-bed houses, because apparently, if you watch TV, no one just lives in the normal 2 up, 2 down terrace anymore in the UK, which is ridiculous, because that is like most people's homes.
But it also, the keeping up with your friends thing always reminds me of that episode. And I think we've talked about this before, actually, the episode of Friends where I think it's Phoebe, Rachel and Joey feel like they always have to spend loads or go to the expensive restaurants because their friends are doing it. And it can feel like almost like a failure for saying no. But I love that you take that empowering, I'm prioritizing this, I'm prioritizing that.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do, this is another phrase I love, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And sometimes we need to know that ourselves, and we need to remind the people around us of that. Like, you know, we're all doing life differently, and we've all sources of income, and we've all got different sources and, you know, number of outgoings. So we can't do everything, and that's okay. And we need to make that clear to other people, because they will overstep. So we've got to put the boundaries in place.
Yes. I would kind of also say, if somebody's really unhappy that you're not willing to spend money to keep up with them, maybe it's not the money that they need to lose. Maybe it's the friendship, because
maybe it's time to change your social circle, as opposed to, you know, changing what you spend money on, because a millionaire will always feel poor if their circle is billionaires, right? So sometimes that is actually just a reality. Yeah.
Right, let's take us to tip 3.
Tip 3. Okay, 3 of 3. And we've got a bonus. I've got a bonus one for you as well, Emma.
Oh, yeah.
So tip 3 is a slightly annoying but always helpful piece of money advice that I share often is know your money. So ask yourself, how much does it cost to be me? Or if you're not a household of one, how much does it cost to run my household on a monthly basis? And sorry, Emma, I spoke over you. Were going to say something?
But I love that phrase so much. Like, it's from my home into Mirror's head, because how much does it cost to be me? I think when people say, how much are your outgoings or anything like that, it's dry. But how much
So
does it
dry,
cost
isn't it?
and the me I want to be as well?
Yeah, oh God, no, yeah, not survival you, actually living life, thriving you. Like, how much does it cost? Not just your household bills, but actually including then however much you put away for savings, how much you spend on your hair, on your nails, on socializing, on eating out. Let's budget for joy. How much does it cost to be you? And so is it 2K a month? Is it 5K? Is it 6K? Is it more? And I think for me, in my line of work as a money coach, helping my clients answer this question is a big part of my work, because what I find is that while people don't factually know this number, they always feel that it should be less. But lives change, and so does our income and our outgoing. So, for example, one of my clients thought it should cost her £2,500 to be her every month. And it did when she was a 30-something single woman, right? Now, as a 40-something mother of two, it's double that. But because she'd been, and this was, I mean, it's a great realization from our work together, she'd been unconsciously pegged to that 2,500 figure. So she'd been beating herself up. I'm doing money wrong. I'm bad with money, because every month it was costing her more to live. So that realization, honestly, I was like, okay, where have you got this figure from? And she's like, oh, that's what it used to cost me. I was like, your life's really different now. And honestly, we laughed about it, because money can absolutely be funny. We can laugh at ourselves with money. She was like, oh my gosh, Talia, this is actually hilarious and mind-blowing. Like, it really helped alleviate the guilt and the shame and embarrassment that actually at this stage in her life simply costs more. She's a mother of two, right? And now she's got a workable figure, which is closer to 5 grand, to build her budget around, because now she knows how much it costs to be her / how much it costs to run her household on a monthly basis. So I think, ask yourself that question. How much does it cost to be me? Or how much does it cost to run my household? You know, if you're not a household of one, and then work out where your money actually goes, not just where you think it goes, which is, again, something that people do a lot. They're like, oh, well, I think I spend this much. And I'll say to people, well, you think you spend this much. Food's a big one. People rarely know how much they spend on food every month. Like the food shop, the grocery shop, but also maybe including eating out and takeaways, right? So if you think you spend £500 on that every month, which, I mean, that would be challenging for, say, a family, but actually even as a single woman, right? I'm like, you know, I don't spend 500, but some months are definitely around that.
Which
right?
Actually,
it's 1, 2, 5 weeks. It's not that much, especially if you're taking eating out into it. So you could easily spend that, right? But people go, oh, well, I spend around £500. And every month they run out of money and they're like, oh, I'm really bad with money. My budget's not working. Nothing's working. What's going on? And I'm like, okay, well, let's actually look at how much you are spending. Like, you know, if you do a lot of your spending on card, let's just we'll review your statements, we'll review your spending, all of that stuff. Or if you like to track, some of my clients like to go and track their spending for the upcoming month. It's not something you need to do forever, just for that fixed period of time, so they can get an idea of what they actually spend, right? Knowledge is power. They'll be like, I actually spend around £1,000 a month. And I'm like, well, great. Because now you know that, right? You were thinking that you were bad because you were always running out of money and you didn't understand why. Now you know why. You weren't actually budgeting enough for what you do actually spend on food every month. Now you know you spend £1,000. You can make an informed decision. Do I just up my budget to £1,000 because that's what I actually spend? Actually, is there a bit of waste there? Could I cut it back? Maybe £900 or £800? You can make those decisions when you know the actual number. And so that's what I mean. Once you know the actual number, and it, you know, you're not aiming for perfection here, not aiming for 100%, like I know exactly every cough and spit and penny of what I spend on food, but you know, you're aiming for some sort of accuracy, like maybe 90% accuracy. I spend on average about £1,000. Brilliant. Okay, do I want to keep spending that, or do I want to cut it down, or do I need to put it up? But you can use that information then to produce an informed budget. And a budget is just a spending plan, right? A spending plan that helps you take control of your money, like decide where your money is going every month instead of feeling like it does a disappearing act every month. Again, it's slightly annoying, but always helpful piece of money advice, because I think it's annoying because everyone's like, oh yeah, that seems so obvious. I should do that. And I'm like, yeah, but if you don't, it's always helpful to repeat this to people because someone will hear it honestly. And just the way that, you say it, I'm like, do you know your money? Know your money, right? How much does it cost to be me?
Even you saying that, I've realised that when I think about the food shop,
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about how much I thought it cost, say, 2 years ago. Even 2 years ago, it was
Yeah,
so drastically different now in how much
it
a food
really
shop
is.
costs.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I,
because prices have changed. Yeah.
yeah. And I guess it's then being like, okay, what do I want to do about that? Because then that gives you options. But I guess knowing your number helps you then make the next decision. Whereas I think
Yes.
a lot of people have real struggles with money because they don't know these things.
Yes. Like honestly, I work with everybody on it. Like, how much does it cost to be you? And I actually, because what I am doing there is talking about budgeting, but I just think it's a better way in to talk about budgeting, because you ask people, oh, so do you know your money? That's the actual tip. And how do you know your money? Okay, how much does it cost to be you? And people go, ooh, ooh, Talia, I don't know. I think maybe this. And I'm like, okay, it's good. It's good to have it. I think it's this. Brilliant. Let's test against that, right? It's like science at school, isn't it? You got a hypothesis. Now we're going to test the strength of that. Is it true? Is it false? How accurate is it? Right? It's exciting. You just get to be a detective for your money and figure out where it goes. I love that.
Okay, you mentioned a bonus tip.
Yes. Okay. So my bonus tip is know when to seek help. And this is really important, especially when this podcast will be going out at the start of the year. January is a time where people can wake up with that post-Christmas, that festive financial hangover. And I always want people to know when and where they can seek help, right? So whatever your income, if you're struggling to cover your basic monthly outgoings, such as your mortgage or rent, household bills, minimum debt repayments, if you've got credit cards and loans, that's a sign to seek help. So the financial guidance website, there's a financial guidance website in the UK. It's called Money Helper. Brilliant, brilliant resources. It has guides, it has tools, it has calculators to help you manage your money. It also includes, it's got a debt advice locator where it lists free debt advice services local to you. And it also helps people check that they're not missing out on any financial support they might be entitled to, which is really important as well. So I think that's my bonus. Know when to seek help and where to seek help. So when to seek help, whatever your income, if you're struggling to cover your basic monthly outgoings, that's a sign. And in terms of where to seek help, the financial guidance website, Money Helper, is a brilliant resource and then can signpost you on to other places. But also if you're like, money coaching with Talia, tell me more. Maybe that's what I want for 2026. I'm like, yes, get in touch with me. I like to talk these things over. I like to help people kind of, I guess, explore their emotions and their beliefs around money as well as do the practical stuff, because money doesn't just exist in a vacuum, right? Our emotions and beliefs around money absolutely influence our practical behavior with money. And I think once we understand why we do what we do, we can figure out what we'd like to do differently and how, right? And we can just put it to the test and keep what works for us and learn from what doesn't. There's no one way to do money. You've just got to find and work out and put in place a system for you. Even saying the word system, that might seem overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be that complicated, right? Just need to take care of your future self, I guess, future-proof your finances so that you've got enough money to live well today and that you've got enough money to live well in future. That's what I want for my clients, because that's what they want for themselves, right? So, yeah.
Okay, so we're launching a newsletter at the start. So every week I run it. It's one or two ones that I will literally save it in my folder.
Thank you.
So how do people sign up for that?
Okay, so with my newsletter, if you go to Talia Loderick, so my website is talialoderick.co.uk, and if you go to talialoderick.co.uk/newsletter, you will find it's linked to on every page of my website, but direct line to sign up.
Pop that in the show notes.
Thank you. To my weekly newsletter. So it's called Club TLC, the newsletter. It's not an actual club, guys. I'm not trying to take you out. But I say it's your weekly dose of financial wellbeing info and inspo. You get the heads up on any exclusive offers. They go to my newsletter subscribers first before I share them anywhere else. And also just a bit of insight into what does a money coach actually do every day? What I do is a niche of a niche, right? Because there's coaching, there's life coaching, business coaching, money coaching, or as other people would call it, financial coaching. But I call myself a money coach because that's the title that I like and that resonates with my clients most, right? But it's a niche that, there are a good few of us in the UK now, which I love. And I'm part of a money coaching community, which is brilliant because I love to know other people doing this niche line of work. Yeah, what do we do every day? Client work, one-to-one work, but also obviously things like this, being on a podcast, going out and about to events, maybe speaking at organizations. We do all that sort of stuff, or I do all that sort of stuff. So yeah, Club TLC is my weekly newsletter. And it is delivered to your inbox at around 8 p.m. on Sundays. I keep saying that it's 8 p.m. on Sundays, but sometimes it's closer to 9, sometimes closer to 10 p.m. So it can move. But I do enjoy putting it together. I do think that we live in a world where we are full of information. And I never want to add to that noise of information at our fingertips because of the internet. So I do like my newsletter to provide inspiration. Do you know what I mean? People need to be motivated to act as opposed to just being overloaded with more, this is how you budget, which is why I don't really go, this is how you budget. I'm like, how much does it cost to be you? That's a way better, more interesting way to talk about it, I think. So, yeah.
I think on the website they can find out your coaching as well.
Yeah, they can find out about my coaching. So to work with me, my main coaching package, it's a 6-month coaching package because change takes time. So I work with my clients once a month. We'll have a 90-minute video call once a month for 6 months. And so that they can go away and take action on the actions they've committed to doing in between our sessions. And they do have access, my clients have access to me in between sessions where they can bounce ideas around or update me on what they've done, and I'm there to celebrate their wins. I love that. My clients are like, I've made an appointment with the solicitor about my will on January the 22nd. And I'm like, this is amazing. I will clap for you. No one else knows that they're doing this work quite often as well. I love to celebrate my client wins in that way. Or one of my clients like, I finally changed mobile phone contract, and I've been meaning to do that for me and my son for, more than a year now. And that may seem like a really small thing, but for this particular client who's been dealing with so much in her life, it's a real win. I love that, So yeah, I'm here to celebrate my client wins. So yeah, my main coaching package is I work with my clients. We'll meet on a video call for 90 minutes once a month for 6 months. We'll discuss things like emotions, beliefs. I've got different activities that we go through, helping my clients to build self-awareness about why they do what they do, but also getting them to commit to taking action, whether that is writing down their money beliefs and sharing it with me, whether it's writing up their values and sharing with me how they're going to bring those to life in relation to money, whether it's doing their budget and refining their numbers or going away for a month and tracking their spending so they can figure out how much they're spending on food, or whether it's, Talia, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a money date with my husband and we are going to sit down and plan what we are doing in terms of holidays this year, where we're going on our big family summer holiday, how much it's going to cost us, and then how we're going to pay for it. So honestly, when I work with women and they are in relationships, money dates is a big, making time for those money dates with their partners. That's been a big part of my work with my clients, actually, in the past few months. So important stuff.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I think my hope is that somebody recently does take something away and implement it. If you're listening, if you're on Spotify, actually, you can scroll around and leave comments, which is quite useful.
Oh, you can only leave nice comments, guys. Thank you very much.
Otherwise, come on over to the Facebook group or the paid free Discord, and you can chat further because Talia is for those. Yeah, and I hope you all have a lovely freelance week. Talia, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Emma. It's been lovely to talk with you.
I'll see everyone next week.
See you. Bye.